And what if the person you love isn't new in your life? What if the connection you feel with them wasn't born in this lifetime, but comes from long before, from another life? There are relationships that defy all logic, that don't follow ordinary timelines, that can't be explained by the mind because they're only understood by the soul. Loves that don't need introductions or stages or masks. Loves that recognize each other, that remember. When two souls have walked together in past lives, something happens when they reunite. It's as if the heart speaks a secret language, and when standing in front of the other, it simply says, "There you are, I finally found you." If you've ever felt a connection so deep with someone that it seems impossible for it to belong to this life alone, if when you first looked at that person, you felt you already knew them, if everything was so fast, so intense, so natural, then maybe you're living a love that transcends this existence. Today, I want to take you on a journey through 12 clear, powerful, meaningful signs that could confirm that the love you're experiencing, or even remembering, didn't start here. It began long ago, maybe centuries ago, maybe in another body, maybe in another corner of the universe. As we move forward, you'll begin to discover whether that bond you feel is the result of a soul pact, a promise made before birth, a divinely orchestrated reunion. And I want you to stay until the end because the 12th sign is the strongest. It awakens dormant memories. It will help you understand why, despite everything, destiny brought you two together again. Nothing in life is a coincidence, especially not true love. Are you ready to discover the truth about your connection? Your soul already is, right now. Maybe you're already thinking about someone, about that love that arrived without warning, without logic, without explanation, but with a force that's impossible to ignore. A love that disarmed you from the very first meeting. That made you feel like it wasn't the first time your eyes crossed, as if something deep inside already remembered. Because when one soul recognizes another that it has shared other lifetimes with, it knows. It doesn't need proof or words or certainty. It feels it. And that feeling is so deep, it transforms the way you see love forever. In this video, I want to share 12 signs that could reveal whether the love you're living or carrying in your heart isn't from this life, but another. These signs are based on energetic memories, on pacts made before incarnation, on vibrations that transcend time, the body, and even death. Because when two souls are destined to reunite, they will. No matter how much time has passed, no matter the circumstances, no matter the lifetimes. And you don't need to have lived mystical experiences to feel it. Sometimes it's as subtle as a look that shakes you, or as profound as a hug that makes you cry for no reason. The important thing is to begin listening to what your soul has been whispering to you all along. So I invite you to stay with me on this journey. We'll go sign by sign, opening doors within you. Maybe you'll discover something you didn't know. Maybe you'll remember something you thought you'd forgotten. Or maybe everything will finally make sense. And before we continue, I want to invite you, if this topic inspires you and you feel it could help others understand their own connections, to subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and share your experience in the comments. Your story could be the beacon another soul needs to understand their path. Your support transforms lives. Thank you for being here, and thank you for opening your heart. Now, Let's go to the first sign. The first sign can happen in a matter of seconds. It happens in that first instant when your eyes meet that person for the first time. But something inside you already knows. I've been here before. It wasn't like meeting someone new. There wasn't that usual nervousness, that sense of unfamiliarity or distance. It was something very different. It was like remembering, as if the soul, upon seeing the other, silently whispered, "I know you. I've been waiting for you." This experience of instant recognition is one of the strongest signs of a love that comes from other lifetimes. It doesn't need words. It doesn't need explanation. It's like an invisible door opens between the two of you, and for a moment, time stands still. Maybe that look shook you. Maybe you felt an intense energy, a chill, an emotion you couldn't explain, or even a deep peace, as if you had finally come home. This isn't fantasy or idealized romanticism. It's energetic memory. It's the soul remembering what the mind doesn't yet understand. And even if years have passed, if you close your eyes and return to that first encounter, you probably still feel it. Because when two souls have shared past stories, they recognize each other beyond the physical, beyond the voice. There is a particular vibration that activates something very deep. And that recognition can be so overwhelming, so luminous, that it marks a before and after in your life. Has something like that happened to you? Have you ever felt you knew someone from long before this world? If so, tell us your story in the comments. Your experience might be the key another heart needs to remember. The second sign appears when the connection doesn't need time. In many relationships, opening up, trusting, speaking from the soul takes weeks, months, even years. But when you're in front of someone your soul already knows, that process doesn't happen gradually. It happens instantly, without barriers, without filters, without fear. From the first moment you began to talk, everything flowed. There were no awkward silences, no masks, no need to impress. On the contrary, what there was truth. A warm, deep, transparent truth, as if both had waited a long time to have that conversation, and maybe, without knowing why, you felt you could tell them things you'd never shared with anyone else. Old wounds, thoughts you hadn't dared say out loud, dreams, fears, memories. Everything found its place in that space you both built effortlessly. This emotional openness is one of the clearest signs of a soul reunion. Because souls that have loved before, that have cared for each other, that have walked together in other lives, carry the memory of trust. And when they reunite, that trust doesn't have to be built from scratch. It only has to be activated. The conversation flows. The silence isn't uncomfortable. The glances speak. And the most beautiful part is that from the beginning, both feel they can be their true selves. There's no need to pretend, no judgment, just presence, just acceptance. And that's not common. That's not found every day. It's the kind of connection born in subtler realms, one that carries history, soul agreements, unspoken love. It's the soul saying, with this person, I can rest, I can speak, I can be. If you're living something like this, don't minimize it. Behind that deep connection, there may be a story much older than you imagine. The third sign manifests in the most mysterious and powerful way the universe speaks: synchronicities. Have you ever thought of that person and at that very moment they called or messaged you? Or have you both ended up in the same place at the same time without planning it? Have you felt there are too many coincidences between you for it to be random? Souls destined to meet seek each other unknowingly, and when they're getting close, the universe begins to move invisible threads so that the encounter happens in the most natural and magical way possible. And then things begin to happen. You both dream the same thing on the same night. You cross paths again and again without scheduling it. You discover you have the same thoughts, the same numbers, the same memories. One finishes the other's sentences. You find books, songs, or messages at the exact right moment. The signs appear everywhere. And when you start to notice, when you connect the dots, you understand that the coincidences are no longer just coincidences. They become messages, confirmations, winks from the universe saying, "This was already written. This soul was already part of your story." Synchronicities are like little breadcrumbs guiding you on the path of reunion. And the more aware you are of them, the more they happen. Because when the soul awakens to the bond, the universe responds. Some people ignore these signs or rationalize them, but you, being here, know that there are moments that can't be explained with logic, only with the language of energy, of destiny, of the divine. If you're experiencing a connection full of synchronicities, look at it with new eyes. Maybe you're not just meeting someone, you're meeting someone who came back. Even if there are doubts, there is an inner certainty that tells you this is real, this is love, this is part of something greater. Because when the soul has already loved, it doesn't love from scratch. It loves from depth, from eternity, from the unspoken. And that's why that emotional intensity isn't a sign of imbalance. It's a sign of depth. If you feel that connection shakes your soul, if it moves you more than you expected, if it transforms you, even though it's just beginning, don't run. Don't be afraid. Recognize it. Maybe you are living a reunion that was written long before this life began. The sixth sign can't be heard but can be felt. It's when words are no longer necessary, when one look is enough to understand everything, when you feel that somehow, without knowing how, you know what the other person is thinking, feeling, experiencing. This connection is not created over time. It is reconnected. It's an invisible line, a shared frequency, a direct channel between two souls that have already vibrated together before. Suddenly, you know when to call them. And when you do, that person says, "I was thinking of you." Or you're going through a hard time and, without saying anything, a message, a sign, or a presence arrives to accompany you. They know how each other feels even at a distance. They know when something isn't right. They know when the other needs space or company. There's no need for long explanations, no need to justify emotions. The connection simply exists, strong, alive, silent, but intense. This is more than emotional affinity. It's shared intuition. It's a form of spiritual telepathy that happens when two souls have lived together before, when they've learned to recognize each other in silence, when they've developed that subtle language that doesn't require words. And although it may seem strange sometimes, because not everyone understands this kind of connection, you know it's real, because you feel it, because you live it, because deep down, you always know that person is with you even when they're not physically near. And that's what souls who love each other from other lives do. They feel each other. They accompany each other through thought. They support each other through vibration. If this happens to you with someone, don't ignore it. It's one of the clearest signs that the love you're sharing didn't begin here. It simply continued here. And there are still more signs to be revealed, because when two souls remember each other, the universe does not stop speaking to them. The seventh sign is perhaps one of the hardest to understand, but also one of the most revealing. When love comes from other lives, it doesn't always present itself as an easy path. In fact, it often comes with great challenges. Couples who, shortly after reuniting, face difficult tests, external obstacles, internal disagreements, doubts, silences, distances, and yet they don't break. On the contrary, something mysterious happens. They grow closer. It's as if the soul, despite the pain or confusion, knows it must stay. As if the energy that binds them is stronger than everything trying to tear them apart. Souls who have shared other lives often carry unresolved lessons, spiritual contracts, old wounds that now seek healing. And those lessons aren't always gentle, but they're always sacred. Sometimes that person comes into your life to help you heal something you've been carrying for a long time, or you arrive in theirs to help them awaken. And in that process, of course, there is pain, of course, there is conflict, but there is also evolution, and above all, there is purpose. Because you're not together just to love each other. You're together to grow, to remember, to transform each other. And though others may look from the outside and think it doesn't work, you both know this is not the end. It's part of the journey. It's part of the pact you made long before meeting in this life. If you've gone through hard times with that person, but after each one, the bond becomes deeper, more mature, more authentic, don't doubt it. That love has roots beyond this life, because souls that truly love each other don't just choose each other in calm. They hold on to each other through the storm. The eighth sign goes beyond romantic love, beyond emotions, beyond even the bond between two people. It's when both deeply feel that they came to this world to do something together, a mission, a cause, a purpose that transcends them as a couple and unites them as souls in service to something greater. It's not just about sharing a relationship, it's about sharing a soul's work. Maybe you've already sensed it, that feeling that your union is not a coincidence, that everything you've lived, every fall, every reunion, every synchronicity has prepared you to create something together, a message, a guide, a service, a project, an energy that multiplies when you're united. And it doesn't always have to be something grand in the eyes of the world. Sometimes the shared mission is simply to sustain a high frequency of love, understanding, and awareness. And with that, touch the lives of those around you. Other times, the mission is more concrete, to help others heal, awaken, remember, to be light for those still walking in darkness. What matters is that when you're together, something activates, creativity flows, vision expands, life gains new meaning. It's as if your souls enhance each other, as if by uniting, they remember the true reason they incarnated in this life at this time, on this plane. And you don't always discover that from the beginning. Sometimes the mission reveals itself gradually as your connection deepens. But when it comes, you know you're not alone. You know the love that binds you isn't just for the two of you. You know your encounter carries the imprint of a promise made on another plane, and that promise is now ready to be fulfilled. If, when you look at that person, you feel that the love between you has a purpose beyond yourselves, it's because it does. And then love becomes service, and union becomes mission. The ninth sign becomes clearest when there is distance, when time passes, when life separates you for some reason, and yet the bond remains intact. It's that kind of love that doesn't fade with the months, with the silences, with routine. It's a love that doesn't depend on physical presence because it's sustained from the invisible, from the eternal. Even if you're far apart, even if you live different paths, even if the world changes, you always find your way back to each other. Sometimes years pass. Sometimes you lose each other. But something bigger than both of you, a silent, deep force, pushes you, guides you, brings you back to the same place, the reunion. And when it happens, it's as if nothing ever happened. Words flow. The connection lights up. The soul simply recognizes that it never stopped loving. Because when the bond is from other lives, it doesn't obey linear time. The soul doesn't measure in years or dates or hours. The soul measures in vibration, in loyalty, in purpose. You may both have had other experiences, other lessons, other relationships, and still something in your heart keeps vibrating for that person who was, is, and will be part of your spiritual story. And it doesn't matter how much time passes. It doesn't matter the distance. What is real, what is of the soul, always finds its way back. This kind of love is not begged for, not forced, not rushed. It is respected, honored, allowed to bloom at its exact moment, because the soul always knows when to return. If you've lived this, if someone has been in your life, left, and then returned as if they never left, it's likely not just a romantic story. It's a spiritual one, an invisible thread that never broke. And there are still more signs that confirm this bond didn't start here. It was only remembered here. The 10th sign isn't always noticeable at first glance, but when it happens, it leaves an indelible mark. It's when that person, without even trying, begins to touch parts of you that were broken, parts that had long been asleep, wounded, or silent. And the same happens for them. Both begin to heal each other, not from logic, but from energy. You don't need to say much. There are no formulas, no advice, no formal therapies. There is something deeper, a presence that transforms, a vibration that opens internal spaces where before there was only pain. Suddenly, thanks to that person, you can see your shadows without fear. You dare to speak about things you never shared before. You cry, not from sadness but from relief, because your soul finally feels safe enough to let go. And the same happens for them. You become a mirror, a balm, a channel of clarity. This kind of love activates memories, cleanses old wounds, opens the heart, and prepares it for something higher. And although it sometimes hurts, because healing tends to stir intense emotions, it also frees. And with every step, every conversation, every hug, knots begin to unravel that came from long ago, from this life or another. It's not a coincidence. Soul reunions always carry an unspoken agreement of healing, because in other lives, maybe things were left unresolved. Maybe there were goodbyes, betrayals, losses, or pending promises. And this life, with its perfect wisdom, has given you the chance to heal that through conscious love. And the most beautiful part is that, without even knowing it, you become medicine. Your presence calms, your voice comforts, your energy clears, and theirs does the same for you. If you felt that this person has healed you without even trying, that their presence has restored parts of you that were lost, don't ignore it. You are living one of the clearest signs of a soul reunion, the power to heal through true love. And there are still deeper signs to be discovered. When two souls heal each other, they prepare for what they truly came to do. The 11th sign is perhaps the most painful, but also the most necessary. Sometimes, when two souls meet again in this life, they cannot stay together right away. And it's not due to a lack of love. It's because each still has something to learn on their own. And so the inevitable happens: separation. A goodbye that breaks the soul, a farewell the mind cannot understand, but the heart knows is not final. These separations are not punishments. They are sacred pauses, spaces to grow, to heal old wounds, to close cycles. Because the soul, though it loves deeply, also needs to be ready to hold that love in its highest expression. And while you're apart, both feel the absence, not just as any void, but as if something essential is missing. Because in truth, a part of you lives in the other. But the universe never makes mistakes, and when the moment comes, the souls find each other again. And that's when the 12th sign happens, the deepest, the most powerful, the one that leaves no doubt. When you're together, you feel like you've come home. It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter the years, the pain, the separate lives. When you look at each other, when you hug, when you speak again, everything aligns. Everything makes sense. It's as if time stops, as if the soul says, "Now we're ready." This kind of love doesn't try to fit into molds. It doesn't follow human rules. It follows spiritual laws. And those laws are wise, mysterious, but always just. If you are with that person and feel that there is nothing left to prove, that everything flows, that everything simply is, then you've arrived home. You've returned to the soul that recognizes you, to the love that needs no reasons. And if you're not with that person yet, trust. Because when two souls are destined to reunite, the universe moves heaven and earth to make it happen. Thank you for making it this far. Thank you for opening your heart to these signs. And remember, when love is from another life, there is no distance, no time, no forgetting that can erase it. Because that love is already part of your eternity